there's a lot of things that it's a trade-off, you know? Like, okay, I'm not afraid of the police, but I don't have Wi-Fi. So, you know, it's a trade-off. It's really a trade-off. But this video is just going to be a quick 5 things I miss about the US. I know this is for a lot of people, that when you're living this nomadic lifestyle, when you're traveling in what essentially feels and looks like paradise, you feel guilty complaining, or you feel very like entitled and privileged to be able to feel sad or feel, I'm like, I have this life that I've always wanted. I just want to remind myself that I'm human, and even if things look picture perfect, and I am not alone, and know that for all you other explorers and travelers and nomadic life goers, if you're feeling homesick, or you know, just feeling this part of the sacrifice, that it's okay that we talk about it, and it's okay that you feel it, and you don't have to feel guilty or privileged or whatever else. Up until now, I really haven't missed anything other than my family, and I can say like that is the number one biggest thing that I miss is my family. I miss my family so much. I've never been away from my mom this long. It's been 7 months, and I didn't go away for college, so this is like my going away for college experience. My little brother just had a baby, and I don't get to hold my nephew, and like I'm missing out on his first weeks of life, and I'm just feeling very, I don't know, far, like life is happening, and I'm missing it. So the second thing that I really miss about the US is just the clarity and the familiarity. I lived in the US my whole life, and while I did move around a lot as a kid, I grew up in the US. It's US culture. Of course, there's lots of different cultures within the United States, but overall, I knew and understood how the United States worked. From the roads to how you stand in a line to the money, like, I've just grown up with this. So to be here, things are just so unclear. Like, even just to give money, I'm like trying to do the math in my head while trying to do the math of how much change I should get back. It's just always some extra stuff when you arrive in a new country and you have to get adjusted. But just figuring out how here there's a lot of negotiation happening. There's a lot of like hustle and people trying to sell you things. So just learning how the men work, learning how the women work, learning how to dress, the language, like there's just so much that is unfamiliar and unclear. And a lot of times I just feel so lost. I'm like, what is happening? What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. It can be very overwhelming. And I don't know, I do just miss that ease, that simplicity of knowing where you're from, because you're used to the customs that you grew up in. Another thing that I miss about the US in my experience is the security. I never once thought about citizenship. I never thought about visas and immigration status. I never thought about border runs. And I've had such a privilege of being born in the United States and having American citizenship, because it's a heavy weight to carry. I'm realizing when you don't belong to a country and when you don't have the citizenship of that country. I'm definitely gaining a whole new appreciation, understanding, empathy for the immigrant experience, and it's making me just really want to learn and educate myself on just citizenship, and having to constantly think about how you're gonna stay where you are, what's gonna happen if your visa expires, how are you gonna get a new visa, how are you gonna get a job. Like, there's just so many things that come with citizenship, and I really just didn't have to think about it because I had American citizenship and I lived in America. So it was just, I belonged there, and there was nothing I had to do to stay in my country, basically. So I actually just put myself on a hold at the library for some books about immigration and just that experience, because I personally know people who have migrated from different countries and had to flee from their own country. The story of an immigrant is around me, but I'm ready to educate myself more on the conversation and on the topic and experience, because I'm getting a small glimpse of what it feels like to feel like you can't go home because there's so much wrong with your home country and it doesn't feel safe. And whether there's war, there's brutality, corruption, whatever it is that you're leaving, to go somewhere else and have to think about how you're going to make it a home and if this place is going to belong to you and you belong to it, it's not a light weight to carry. So this has definitely opened my eyes to all of that. Fourth thing I really miss about the US is the ease and the access. I lived in downtown Denver before coming here, and I worked at Whole Foods. There was the mall, there was the King Soopers, the Super Target was down the street, the movie theater, the gym. Like, there was so much around me, and there was so much access. There were so many food options. If you wanted this food, you could go here. If you wanted that food, you can go. Like, there were so many things that you could get. If you wanted something, you can go find it and it's yours. And I miss the transportation, the bus system, the train system, Uber. Like, there's just so many things that are not just readily available. Like, if you go to the supermarket, there's like 3 cereals to choose from. You don't get a whole row of cereal, like 50 cereals to choose from. You don't get that. There's not a huge candy aisle. There's like 4 or 5 candies on the shelf, and you better make your choice, So the abundance that is of America, just mass supply, that is not a thing all over the world. That is not a thing all over the world. And like here, the roads, oh my God, you guys, the roads are so many potholes, so many bumps, and like it's the whole ride. That's how you are swerving. Like, it is so much. So just when I look at the buses, those are packed. Like, people are hanging out the window, they're hanging off the back of the bus. Like, literally, these buses are packed. I have so many things that this place doesn't have that I have just grown so accustomed to. It's like Super Targets and Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and Walmarts and on and on and on, Amazon, like just all of these things that we, at a click of a button, can be delivered to your door. Like, that is not a thing here. That is not a thing. So I really do miss that ease and that access and just the abundance of, there's just a plethora of options. So I will say that it teaches you all that you can live without. So it definitely humbles you and teaches you, but I feel like the first time in 7 months, I have actually been like, dang, I'm thankful that I grew up in a place that I know that like Super Target exists. Whew, it's a big contrast. And the very last thing that I miss, which I'm trying to phrase this the right way, but honestly, the ignorance of resources. In the States, my family was mindful. We recycled, we turned the lights off. Like, we thought about limited resources, but I don't think we really understood limited resources. To me, when you turn the faucet on, water comes out, and there was never a time for me that water didn't come out of the faucet. So it was just like this endless stream of water that I controlled whenever I wanted to. And same with power. I never unplugged things. You know, I would turn the lights off or turn the TV off, but I didn't just unplug things because it's using this idle power. So being here, there are days when I go to shower and the shower just won't turn on. The faucet won't turn on, the power goes off like multiple times in a day. The Wi-Fi is like damn near non-existent. So these things that I just really took for granted, and just didn't have to think about it. Like I never thought about the water not being on for me. Like I just didn't. My mom always had the bill paid. We always had water. So it was never a thing. The only time we didn't have water is if the pipes were frozen, and then you just leave it on until the water came through. So being here, that's just been a big adjustment, and just having to be aware that just how it's so ignorance is it truly is so blissful that when you don't have to think about the electricity, you just you just blah blah blah. But here, where electricity is limited, where water is limited, the faucet just isn't this magic spigot that lets water come out. So it's a wake-up call. It's definitely a wake-up call, and it's humbling for sure, because I need to do my part to make sure that I am conserving and living a sustainable life. And this was that wake-up call that, recycling isn't enough, It's time to educate yourself. And I don't know, America for sure doesn't really have to think about that. We don't think about that as a majority. So I think that's it, you guys. I feel like I went off on a bunch of tangents, but I just want to share these little 5 things. I'm feeling better already. I was wanting to just lay down and cry, and I don't feel that way anymore. So thank you for letting me just pour my heart out and share this little aspect of this journey. I want to make sure that I'm real and honest with you all, and not just showing you the picturesque pictures, the perfect filtered perspective. I want you to know that there's real sacrifices that come along with this nomadic lifestyle, and there's sacrifices from leaving the US, like the power, like the ease and the access and the security, and there's a lot of things that it's a trade-off, okay, I'm not afraid of the police, but I don't have Wi-Fi. So it's a trade-off. It's really a trade-off. But I appreciate you guys so much, and I'm just so excited for you. If you are living abroad, I would love to know, where are you right now? What do you miss about the US? And if you are planning your trip to move out of the US, what are things that you think you're gonna miss? Did this spark anything? Have you thought of these things before? Have you thought about the things you're gonna miss? Definitely cherish, if you are in the US, I know it's not always easy, and right now it's especially more of a mess than it usually is, but hold on to some things. I'm feeling very grateful that we're building a community where we're able to talk about alternative lifestyles and just be open and honest with how we are approaching and navigating these dreams of ours. Next 2.5 months at least. So I have some vlogs coming. I want to explore some of the country, and I know I've been meeting quite a few people of the diaspora, Americans living here, so I want to talk to them and get some other perspectives for you guys. But yeah, if you have any requests, any questions, any experiences you'd like me to try, please leave them down below, or feel free to DM me, or leave a comment. But I think that's it. Thank you guys for all the love, all the support, and for your time. Excuse me. And I'm gonna go eat my ice cream and eat my feelings away. All right, guys, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll see you next week. Bye.